So a track athlete is disqualified for celebrating in North Carolina, and all hell is breaking loose online in social media and local North Carolina news, and it's getting a little crazy out there. So let's sort through all of this because the reporters in North Carolina aren't doing it. We'll talk about that next on the ProZone. Welcome to the ProZone. I'm Matt Roberts. So there was a track meet in North Carolina, and a runner was disqualified at the end of a race. And all hell is breaking loose. I mean, everyone's losing their minds. The North Carolinians are losing their minds. People on social media are losing their minds. Everyone's going crazy about this. Coaches and pro spokespeople from the pro leagues are getting engaged in this thing. Everyone is injecting their opinion, but no one's stating the facts, okay? So I said, you know what? Let's clear the air on this whole thing and spell it out. It's pretty straightforward if you actually read the rules, but there are a lot of North Carolina reporters, quote-unquote reporters, who haven't read the rules. They're just injecting their opinion, which a reporter doesn't do unless you're doing an editorial. But this is a new world we live in, so your journalists love to opine all the time. Let's talk about this. What actually happened? And you're going to wonder, well, Matt, why are you getting involved with this? Because you're up in New Jersey. Because it involves high school sports. I do high school, college, pro sports, but it involves high school sports, but also a lesson can be learned from this. And I want to dig deeper into it. So let's talk about it. Here is the basic story, okay? The athlete who was disqualified, his name is Nyan Brown. Okay, Mr. Brown was running the 4x400 relay at the Mallard Creek High School Mavericks. That's his team. And in the video, you can see it, which I'm going to show in a second. He crosses the finish line and he raises his hand. Okay, he raises it like this. It was the other hand, but he raised it like this, fingers backwards. Let's watch it first. Okay, let's watch the clip. There he is in the white. See, he raises his hand. And then finishes the race. And then they say, disqualified. Now he's like, what? What? Coaches are losing their minds. And there they go. Okay? That was it. So what happened? Why was he disqualified? Now, there's a lot of people that are saying, well, he was just disqualified for doing this. And that. No. There's more to it, okay? What was he doing with his hand? Not sure. Was he showing, championships? Was he just saying, I won? Was he waving goodbye to the guys behind him? Don't know. But he raised his hand. Now it's not because he just raised his hand. We'll circle back to that. Let's start earlier in the meet, right here. In the same meet, okay, the first race, he was warned about this.
35 seconds for Nyan Brown.
Nyan Brown wins. See him flexing right there on the right. He's flexing. Now he turns. It's fine. Celebrate. No problem. Now he comes back and he starts flexing. Smacks hands. Now he was flexing toward the athletes of the other team. So that's over celebration, or it can be interpreted as such. And they gave him a warning. Hey, don't do that. Stop celebrating like that. You're taunting the other team. Okay, taunting's a big deal. And they gave him his warning, right? Then he did it again. Then didn't flex and do that stuff, but he raised his hand. Now, he didn't raise his hand at the end, like with a victory pose, just throw his arms up because he won. There were 10 meters left in the race, and he had his hand up like this while he was running. Oh, he just raised his hand. Yeah, he just raised his hand. But he was doing it while he was running, and he was already warned not to do it. And the official made the call and said, look, I told you not to do it. Don't celebrate. It's unsportsmanlike. You did it anyway, so you're disqualified. and then they lost the championship because of that. Well, everyone's losing their minds. They're freaking out. Oh, it's not fair, and they should review it, and he should get the championship back. And then some of them are saying, oh, they should be co-champions. Some genius goes, they should be co-champions, them and the other team. That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. You know what that comes from, that co-champion crap? That comes from people who grew up with participation trophies. You millennials who grew up with those, everybody gets a trophy. You know, everyone has to get a trophy just for being part of the game. That's where that comes from, okay? There are winners and there are losers. That's it. There's no co-champion. It's just how it is. And sometimes just things don't go your way. So, am I taking a side? Not quite, but I'm digging deeper into this. So let's explain. I went over the rules for this, okay? The rules are pretty clear. There's a lot to them. Now, the stuff people are sharing online, they're sharing little blurbs that are like AI grabs, because that's what people do nowadays. They grab something from AI and they go, look, this is what it says. Well, the AI isn't always 100% right. It kind of translates things in its own way and tries to make heads or tails of it, right? So I said, let's go to the actual rules. So this is from the NFHS rule book for track and field. That's the ones who are governing body over this meet. There's a lot in their rules, okay? But what is unsportsmanlike conduct? Well, it says here, unsportsmanlike conduct, and bear with me because we're going to read this. Unsportsmanlike conduct can take many forms. It can be flagrant and easily detectable, or it can be subtle. It detracts from the integrity of the sport as well as diminishes the enjoyment of the competitors and spectators. There are two types of unsportsmanlike conduct as described in Rules 4-6-1 and 4-6-2. Unacceptable conduct and unsporting conduct. Both violations are applicable to competitors as well as coaches and other team personnel. Okay, so that sets the stage for it. So what is unsporting conduct? Well, they break it down into bullet points, okay? It's the more serious of the two. Unsporting conduct. Disrespectfully addressing an official. That didn't happen. Swearing or using profane language directed at another person. Didn't see that or hear that happening. Nor was it reported to have happened. Verbally taunting another competitor. What is defined verbally? Are you saying something to them or are you just cheering in their face? That could be considered taunting, maybe. Intentional physical contact or physical taunting of another competitor, such as clapping in the face or standing over a fallen competitor in an intimidating manner, or any other flagrant behavior. And there's your broad term. The broad stroke is any other flagrant behavior. So Mr. Brown pumped it up after the race, flexed, slapped hands with his teammate, that's fine. But then he turned toward the other athletes and he flexed in their direction. The official saw that as flagrant behavior, most likely, and said, warning. Now, here's the thing about the warnings. There's a lot of stink about the warnings, okay? Their coach, the coach of the team, he doesn't believe that there was a warning. He insists, no, they didn't warn him. They didn't warn. Here's the clip from their coach, their head coach, MALLARD CREEK's coach.
I do want to get out there that he was not warned. I know that's the message that people want to say, well, if he was warned before, why did he do something again? He was never warned. He was never given a personal message to say, don't do this again, we're watching you. Never.
Okay, so that's what he says. But you got to consider the source. There's always two sides on this. He's going to try to defend his athlete as much as possible. Okay, they lost the championship because his athlete was disqualified. That cost him the whole championship. So he's going to try to defend his championship as much as he can, or his athlete as much as he can. Of course he's going to. Then he's going to say no one heard it. Do we have is it on record? Do we have a recording of them warning him? There's a lot of gray area there, but we're going to circle back to that, okay? Because the rules are very specific, all right? They're broad but specific. So any other flagrant behavior, back to those rules. The official said, hey, nix on that. Don't do it again. Don't flex like that. That's the wrong answer. Don't try to, flex in front of the other players, other competitors in this thing, because that's unsportsmanlike. They say they gave him the warning. Cool. Then he goes to do it again with the hand up, right? Is it as bad as flexing? No. but he did it during the race, not after he crossed the finish line. It was an impulsive, hey, I won. It was a, I'm winning. Here we go. There's, I don't know what it means, but there's my hand. Goodbye. Watch me as I run away. I don't know what it is, but he did it. So the official, it's under their determination of what that unsportsmanlike conduct actually is. So here it says unacceptable conduct is a lesser violation. I'm going to just read this. It is not a clearly defined in the rules. The penalty to unacceptable conduct is disqualification from the event, but not the remainder of the meet. It includes willful failure to follow the direction of a meet official. And if there was a warning saying don't do it again, and you do it again, then if you do it again, then disqualification, right? And they even say enforcing the rules. The rules, oh, I'm sorry, there's more to that. Under that unacceptable conduct, showboating or gloating in a way that endangers the safety of other participants or impedes the conduction of the meet. That's pretty clear cut. It's not a safety issue. And any other action that would bring discredit to the individual or the individual school. That's a broad stroke. Determine, what's that called? Determine discredit. Define that. That's a tough one, right? So now we have that. But you see, the rules are for interpretation. And it says here, enforcing rules of unsportsmanlike conduct. The rules do not carry any provision requiring a warning by an official to a competitor or team personnel regarding their conduct. So what the coach said doesn't really matter because they don't have to give a warning according to the rules. Coaches should recognize that when a warning is given, however, it should be followed up with the explanation in order to prevent disqualification. So it should, doesn't say will, it said should. So if they gave a warning and didn't explain it to the coach or the athlete, should be explained to the coach so he can tell the athlete knock it off, then that can lead to disqualification. But they don't have to give a warning. They can just disqualify based on the rules. Officials should practice preventative officiating, which includes providing a warning regarding actions that may not yet rise to the level of unsporting behavior but have the potential to cause issues. They should practice that. Will they always? No, but they say they should. It doesn't say the athlete will, the official will do this. It says should. So it's very broad, this rule, okay? It's left up to the determination of the actual official, okay? Often an official's presence at the hotspot location, such as the finish line, may be enough to prevent unsporting acts. So the presence of the official there, if you were given a warning, and the official that gave you the warning is at the finish line, and you see that official, it's like driving down the street and seeing a cop. I'm speeding. I got to slow down because I don't want the cop to bust me. Same thing, okay? That official gave me the warning. Let's not get busted again. Let's just hold it together. Okay. So that's basically the gist of it all. It's very broad stroke. It's not a clear-cut definition. It's under the determination of the official. And it says here, as the rules are not all encompassing, the following are points to consider in the decision to enforce a penalty for unsporting conduct or unacceptable conduct. Does an athlete's celebration rise to the level of unsporting? Actions like yelling and gesturing as a runner crosses the finish line or completes an attempt in the field events are rarely unsporting unless an official can identify actions being directed at a competitor, which he did flex toward the competitors, or they interfere with the conduct of a meet. A disqualification is rarely warranted. Okay, so it's not a common thing. Is the individual committing an act that could be considered illegal? No, it didn't happen. Is the athlete or / team personnel not complying with instructions in a truly willful manner? An effort to electively communicate with the individual should be made before deciding the penalty. Was he willful for it or was it just reactionary? That's up to interpretation. That is. I mean, if you tell a guy don't do it and then he goes and does something like it but not the same, is it willful? Again, up to interpretation. But the bottom line, it comes down to the official. It's the opinion of the official. That's what it comes down to. The official sees it, doesn't like it, and they said they gave him a warning, did it anyway. Official made the call. I've had calls go against me, which are crap calls. I've had calls not called against me in my years playing, Division I sports, high school and Division I football. There are all kinds of rules that there's, the penalties that are not called, penalties that are called that shouldn't have been called. It happens. It sucks, and it changes the outcome of the game. Hell, I did a thing online just about 2 years ago. It was a video about Manasquan High School's playing Camden High, and Manasquan put the ball up at the buzzer beater shot, and won the championship over Camden, the state championship over Camden. Then, and the referee ruled it, good basket. But then all of a sudden there was a little huddle on the sideline. It was the athletic director from Camden at the time and some NCHSAA official, and then the referees are all sitting there talking. And it really shouldn't even happen like that, because you shouldn't have like ADs and officials, NCHSAA reps doing it. It's the referee's call. What's call is made on the floor is the call is made on the floor. But then they overturned that call. Okay? And it gave the championship to Camden when it rightfully belonged to Manasquan. That's just the way it was. It happened. It sucks, but it happens. There's bad calls that are made all the time. Manasquan appealed it. They went to the courts and the whole thing, and they kept getting knocked down. No, we're not going to do it. No, we're not going to do it. They're not going to hear the case, or dismissing the case. And that's what happened. But it happens. Okay? Everyone losing their minds. It's like this, like something horrible happened. Okay, the kid screwed up and lost the championship for his team. It is what it is. It's just how. But the problem you have here is you have people who are always ones that have to make it stupid. They have to go stupid, okay? And you have, first off, they show pictures of other kids, different kids from that day who were celebrating as they crossed the finish line. He did it with 10 yards left in the actual, or 10 meters left in the actual race. So he raised his hand during that whole finish. That's probably the sticking point why he was disqualified. Okay? Other ones, again, it's reactionary. You cross the finish line, arms up, you're done. But doing it during the race, that's taunting. And it is. It's taunting. I mean, it can be construed as taunting. It may have been his intent. But remember, guys, it's never the intent. It's the interpretation. It's like you're never busted for the actual causing the fight. You're busted for the retaliation. Okay? It's always how they see it. I didn't do anything wrong, but you retaliated. And I saw that. I didn't see that. That guy was speeding down the highway. Yeah, but I didn't see him, but I saw you. So you got busted. It's unfair, but it happens. But then there's people out there that are losing their minds. They're losing their minds over this, and they're not just showing other people winning a race, but then there are some that have to go there, and there's no reason to go there. They're going the racial side. Some of them, not everybody, but enough. And they're going, well, they're discriminating. Well, no, stop. Don't use it as an excuse, okay? Because the official who disqualified him was a black female. All right? He's a black kid. He got disqualified. That's what it was. It's not a racial thing in any way, shape, or form. It's just he screwed up. And he got caught for it. And someone saw it as celebrating and saw it as unsportsmanlike, and they made the rule. And that's just the way it is. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association came out and made a statement. They said judgment decisions made by meet officials are done with the full knowledge of NFHS track and field rules, which are the rules I just read you. And they understand that there's disappointment. That's just how it is. Okay? They're like, well, it happens. It sucks. It's just the way it is. There's going to be, hearings and things, and I don't think they're going to overturn it. I mean, the problem here, and here's where the problem lies. This is where I'm getting involved with it. Because social media is cancerous to a point. Good in some ways, bad in others. You have a whole slew of people who are going online, and they're starting to vent about this thing. And there's people that are saying he should have been disqualified. That's life's tough. That's just how it is. There's other people that are saying, oh, it's not fair. You got to give him a shot. And it's like two different schools of thought. You have the participation trophy people who are, rules aren't fair. We have to get our way all the time. And then you have the other people who are like the old schoolers, like, shit happens. That's like me. I'm a Gen X guy. Shit happens. It sucks. It does suck. I've seen it before, and I'm sure I'll see it again. It's just the way it is. Did you learn a lesson from it? Yeah. Is it suck? Yeah. It is what it is. That's all. But there's people that are going to try to argue this. It's just too much of a cacophony of people online. And the concern that comes from this is if these people make all this noise, plus these moron reporters from North Carolina who don't read the rules. I've had it out with a couple of them on X myself. It's like, do you even read the rules? He's like, what does it matter? Like, he doesn't even care. He just wants to opine without even understanding what the rules are or the repercussions of it, because they can't think outside of the box that they live in, okay? The recent news box. Let's report what's happening to other people, but don't dig deeper into it. Well, that's what I'm doing, okay? What they don't understand is if you allow the masses to freak out over something like this and the intimidation from the media, from social media, from bloggers and whatnot, if the intimidation is strong enough and it gets to the point where it will influence the actual governing body, and then they say, that pressure's too hot, let's overturn our ruling, you've now set a precedent. You've now set a precedent. Because once you do that for that little thing, then everybody's going to complain about every ruling that you make, and they're going to make a stink, okay? And they're going to realize, you know what? If we intimidate them enough, then they're going to fold and do it our way. That's what's been happening with the NCAA. All those lawsuits, the NCAA kept folding. Finally starting to fight back, but they didn't do it for 2 years. And look at the kind of mess the NCAA is in now. It's falling apart. Got a whole nother show coming up about that. Holy hell. Wait till you hear this crap. But anyway, back to the story here. That's my concern. If they cave, or aren't you making a big deal of it? Well, it's not a huge deal, but it's, again, sets a precedent. Anybody can look at it and say, well, it's happened before. You've done it before. You've overturned a ruling before. So why can't you overturn a ruling now? And that's what would happen from this. And what it does is it destroys the integrity of the sport. It does. Your officials, if your officials are if their rule isn't final, okay, barring instant replay, if their rule isn't final, then why have officials in the first place? That's my point. That's my point. So that's my concern. Now, the other issue I get from this, and this is the lesson I have for the young folk out there. Guys, you have to stop celebrating so much. Celebration is cool, but I don't care what the pros do, okay? Some are saying, what about the pros? They celebrate. Hell, look at this one here. This person said college track and field right here. This is from Auburn track and field, okay? Now, watch this match. The guy in the red in the middle there, watch him. Winning, no problem. He's going to set a world record, okay? Boom, boom, boom. And hands up before he crosses the finish line. He doesn't do anything else afterward. He just stands there, but his hands were up before he crossed the finish line. Then he goes over and he slaps hands with his coach or hugs his coach or his dad or whoever it was in the stands there. He doesn't do anything else. But they're freaking out and they're going, what about that? His hands are raised before he crossed the line. Well, first off, that's college. That's college. So it's totally different. Those rules are very different in college. And the rules are, in college, it's pretty specific in college. If you look at the rules, it says, pointing at opponents, obscene gestures, or actions intended to incite the crowd are strictly prohibited. Prearranged, choreographed group routines and prolonged acts where an athlete focuses undue attention on themselves are classified as unsporting conduct. Equipment use, using props, uniform integrity. Those are things. Those are the rules from college. They're pretty spelled out. Okay? They're not quite as spelled out in the NFHS rules, and they probably should make it a little more clear. But he didn't do that. He just raised his arms. He may have raised them right before, but it's still college. It's not high school. You can't look at the college, you can't look at the pro and say, well, those rules don't apply to them. But here's the deal. I always say, for the high school and youth athletes, First you go along, then you get along. What does that mean? That means you have to go along with the system. You have to follow the rules. You have to play the game. Okay? You have to toe the line and behave yourself so you can then advance and get along. That's just what it means. You're not in the position as a high school athlete or a youth sports athlete to act the fool. You're not in the position to break the rules and celebrate like a goof. And not that the kid Brown did, it's just like in general. And I'll show you a couple examples of ridiculous celebration, okay? You're not in a position to do that because you're still earning your bones. I don't care what the pros do. Pros can celebrate and they have those choreographed dances, which I find absolutely ridiculous in the NFL. They're silly. They were cool in the movie Any Given Sunday, but they're dumb in the actual NFL game. But you got to remember, in the pros, these guys are more entertainers now than athletes. Yes, they're athletic, but they're entertainers. You're paying a ticket. They're putting on a show. They're on TV. You have a captive audience. And they're allowed to get away with certain things. They get penalties as well, but it's a lot more lenient because they've made it to the show, and that's what it is. It's a show. You're in high school or youth sports, even in college in some capacity. Keep it simple. Don't get stupid. Celebrate, done. Don't taunt. Don't flex. Don't do all this weird crap. And when I'm looking at high school, I've been filming high school sports now for over 24 years. And I've seen a lot of celebrations. Some egregious, some not so egregious. One of the things that I see a lot in high school sports, especially last couple of years, but more so last year, was every single time a pass is thrown toward a defensive back and a wide receiver drops the pass or it's knocked down by the D-back, even if the receiver just happens to drop it or it's overthrown, the D-back will then go like this, cross his arms, yeah, like he did something. All the time. It's fine, it's okay, but that's pointless. I always like to live by, and my father always said, and I abide by this, act like you've been there before. If it's your first touchdown and you're going to celebrate, then celebrate once. You're good. But then if you get more touchdowns, you've done it before. Just go through it. Just get done. Put the ball down and go back. You can pump up your team at the huddle, on the sidelines, but just get it done. Don't spin the ball. These guys this year, I've seen a lot of the guys spinning the ball or doing little flips of the ball or doing these little weird things or dancing or doing something stupid. And it's been so prominent this past football season where a player will do a little dance or something and then a flag will be thrown against them. And then on the following kickoff, they lose 15 yards off the kickoff right off the bat. You're hurting your team by acting foolish. There's no reason to do it. All you're doing, that's your own self-glorification, okay? Everyone wants to be a star, a little social media star, their little clip, their little thing that they want to play online. They want to see themselves go viral when you don't want to do that. Because let me be honest, college coaches don't like that crap. They don't. If you're going to be a guy who's going to act a fool, they like character, but they don't like you acting a fool, because if you act a fool, then you're going to do that in college, and then you're going to start getting that team penalties, and they don't want you to do that. So that is a hit against you if you do that too often. I'll be honest. Some coaches don't care. Most coaches do. Okay? So the key is don't over-celebrate. Just play the game. Look at Barry Sanders. I mean, I grew up in an era of athletes who didn't really celebrate a whole lot. You had Dr. J, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan. They'd get the quick pump up at the end, and then they would go back and they'd play. And they would never sit there and celebrate and then not hustle back for the next play, like the clowns in the NBA, the cupcakes now do. Those guys, they celebrate and goof around. And then meanwhile, the play's breaking on a fast break to the other end of the court, and they're still farting around like LeBron James, rolling on the ground trying to draw a foul or complaining about not getting a foul. Meanwhile, the play's down there, and they're one defender short because he didn't hustle back. I grew up in that era, okay? Barry Sanders, that guy could have broken every single rushing record if he had a really good line in front of him. The guy he ran his last touchdown like he ran his first touchdown. I think I saw him celebrate one time, and that was with his team. And that's it. There's no hot dogging, no showboating. Some guys do. Deion Sanders, he was a showboat. That's just the way he was. Okay? But you got Bo Jackson, two-sport athlete. He wasn't a showboat. He just did his job. And that's what you're supposed to do. Emulate those people. Emulate the legends. They're legends for a reason. You don't have to showboat your talent and your accomplishments because you know you did them and we all saw it. Just get it done. Trust me on this. This is a good lesson for this athlete and for anybody else. This is a good lesson. Here's the problem. Where does it come from? Why are these kids celebrating so much nowadays? I'll explain to you why. There are three main people involved in the whole thing. Three people at fault, minus the athlete themselves, okay? One, the pros. The pros act like the fool. We just talked about that. Kids look up to those athletes. They emulate them. They want to be like them. Done. And they do it. Okay. But that's a minor part of it. Two are your parents. If I celebrated, I remember I was at a football game in high school and we scored a touchdown. It was the big final game of the year, the big Thanksgiving Day game. And we drove in a touchdown and it ran past me and we got it into the end zone. And I stepped out of the line and I pumped up in the air once, did a quick pump. And my dad went up to me and said, afterward, he went, "A little bit of hot dog in there?" I said, "Yeah, I guess so." I got a little fired up and I just did that. And yeah, okay, but that's the thing. Old school sports, you don't need a hot dog. Just do the job, okay? That's just how it is. But the parents are the ones that can put a quash to it right away. They can say, guys, no, don't do that. First off, you embarrass your family. You look like a fool. Don't do that. If you want to celebrate with your team after. Celebrate on the sideline, but don't do it during the play. But parents love that crap. A lot of parents love that crap. They see it on TV. They've grown up with it. So their kids are going to do some silly things because they saw it coming up and they think it's cool and their kid's really cute. So they're going to bite on that. They're going to love every minute of it. That does happen. But the parents can squash it early by saying to them, no, don't act a fool. Just play the game and get it done. And there are a lot of parents that do that. Okay? The next one are the coaches. Now, I work with a lot of coaches. And the coaches I work with, they don't tolerate that crap. They just don't. Some of them, let the kids get away with a little bit of it, but once the penalty flag is thrown, then they're chewing that kid's ass. All right? But most coaches don't like that at the high school level. They just don't. And when you have a coach who embraces that unsportsmanlike conduct, that's the kid's mentor for the most part. The coach is around that kid all the time. And they're the ones that are imparting the wisdom on the kid. So if they're not teaching the kid to not showboat, then the kid's going to do it. And he's never going to learn to not do it. Here's an example. A youth football game. Watch this Little League football game, okay? Here, let's play that clip. This is a 5U, under 5. What, he scores? He's humping the ground, and the coaches are around him, egging him on to hump the ground at under 5 years old. All right? That's disgraceful, to be honest with you. Here's another one. Watch this. On an NFL turf. Oh, watch this. On an NFL field, he scores and humping the ground. And then his other teammates join in and they're humping the ground. The referee picks him up and says, nope, stop it. These are young kids. Young kids. Like little ones. First off, they don't even know how to use their parts like that. But why are you teaching them to hump the ground? Where did they get that from? Because the pros, I've never seen the pros do that. And why the hell aren't the coaches stopping them from doing it? That's ridiculous and unsportsmanlike, and absolutely, it's classless. So what you're doing there as a kid is you're embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing your parents, you're embarrassing your team, and you're basically embarrassing the game by doing that. But if the parents are okay with it and egg them on, if the coach is okay with it and eggs it on, they're going to keep doing it thinking it's right. And then they're going to learn the hard way and get disqualified in a big game where it matters and get a huge penalty, which might cost their team the game. There's my point. Then there's this track meet here. Where is it? Salinas, Texas. A teen. Now, this is what we talk about with props. They mentioned they don't use, the college doesn't like to use props. This is Salinas, Texas. This athlete, young lady right there with the blue and red shirt, she wins. Right? Now watch this. She's going to go off. Now, some other runner had done this before. She's doing it now. She's going to win the race. No problem. No celebration. She goes over, gets a fire extinguisher from a parent in the stands, and then she goes in the middle of the field, not on the track, but in the middle of the field, and she's putting out her shoes as if her shoes are on fire because she's running. Is it funny? Yeah, but not at the track meet. And because of that, in the 400 meter, the young lady was disqualified, stripped of her title because she used a prop and it was unsportsmanlike conduct. This is what I'm talking about, okay? If the officials tolerate that, then they're going to tolerate more. Now, those are egregious. Humping the ground and putting out your shoes with a fire extinguisher, those are egregious. Raising your hand, well, raising your hand after being warned, okay, but that's subjective. And that's the official's call. Officials say don't do it. Here's a warning. Don't celebrate like that. You celebrate anyway. You raise your hand before you finish for like 10 meters. Then they say, oh, well, I guess you didn't want to listen to me. And if my rules don't matter, you're disqualified. And that's how it is. Is it fair? No, it's not fair. I mean, it's life's tough, but it's just the way it is. It's the rules. What do you want me to say? I don't have a horse in this race. I just know that the rules are the rules, and they're up for interpretation. And if they're smart, they're going to stand by those rules, no matter how much it hurts the kid and the team. It sucks, but they're going to stand by those rules. Otherwise, like I said, that's going to set a precedent, and then every single rule is going to be challenged. And they've already caved once. So, lesson to everybody, guys, young people. Stop celebrating. Just stop. Don't hot dog it. You can raise your arms and be happy that you won. That's cool. Don't do a dance. Don't flip the ball. Don't hump the ground. Don't do anything stupid. Just play the game. First you go along, then you get along. That's all you need to do. Show them you could do it. You don't need to hot dog do it. Just show them that you can get it done. Let your play talk for you. That's it. There you go. There's my breakdown of what happened with this young man, Mr. Brown, over in North Carolina. Hopefully we got something out of this. You may agree with me. You may not agree with me. I don't care if you don't. That's fine. You can come at me. That's fine. No problem. I don't care. What I'm saying, I base it off the rules, and it is the rules. So I'd love to hear from people. If you want to say something and voice your opinion, please do. I'm sure I'll be called names. Fine. Whatever. Until next time, I'm Matt Roberts. Thank you very much for watching the ProZone. Please like and subscribe and share this if you want to. Thank you again. Know your goal.